Keep on growing up, kid. Don't let me stop you. Make mistakes.
If you love watching Stranger Things, then you're gonna totally love this video because there are so many things we need to talk about. So stick around because in today's video, we'll be talking about some of the most unanswered questions from Stranger Things. But first, a simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We are giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or MacBook Pro. It's all your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Okay, what's up with Eleven's powers? Ever since we got introduced to Eleven as a shifty, clean-shaved child, she's always been one of the strongest characters on the show. She remains the only one that can reasonably take on the show's monsters. She's gifted with psychokinetic and telepathic abilities, and this is bad news for monsters, let alone regular humans. Throughout the show's 3 installments, Eleven, now called Elle, has been the hero swooping in to save the day. But it appears that she finally has met her match in the Mind Flayer, a demon-like thing that takes possession of Billy. After trying to find Billy with her powers for most of the season, something strange began to happen. Her powers started to wane, and they continued to wane until she finally lost the ability to use them. And get this, they do not come back. Even after 3 months, Eleven still doesn't have her powers back. We don't know many things, but we know one thing for sure. Without Eleven and her powers, the sleepy small town of Hawkins doesn't stand a chance against the creatures of the Upside Down. So our educated guess is that Eleven's powers will return at some point. But when? We cannot say for sure. What are the Russians doing? For decades, Russians have been the go-to guys whenever there's a foreign threat in a Hollywood show. Sometimes North Korea and their neighborhood little man takes the fall, but for the most part, it's the Russians and their vodka and weird accent that are always the ones to look out for. This is the case in the 3rd installment of the show as well. In the ending credits, we see that the Russians are once again up to no good as they have a torture device called the Demogorgon. And in the scene, they use a Demogorgon to devour a prisoner, or use the prisoner to feed the Demogorgon. In any case, some devouring was done. Now, we know that this may be a way to set up the conflict in the 4th season, but what we can't seem to understand exactly is how the Russians got their hands on a Demogorgon. Did they transport one from Hawkins? Or did they manage to open another portal to the Upside Down? Or were they able to genetically create a new one? Who knows? What about the rats? One of the creepiest scenes in Stranger Things 3 is when thousands of rats suddenly develop a mind of their own, run into a basement, and spontaneously explode. And it doesn't quite stop from there. After exploding, the guts, blood, and goo come together to form the extremely disgusting and remarkably repulsive Mind Flayer. And the Mind Flayer doesn't stop there either. It starts consuming human beings too. But we know why it consumes human beings. We know that Flayer's victims have to consume various kinds of chemicals to create a new substance. But we don't exactly know how the Flayer was able to get the rats to do its bidding. How did it direct them to the fertilizer that sustained them? How did they even get attracted to the Flayer in the first place? We may never know. The Dr. Brenner puzzle. In Stranger Things 1, Eleven was locked up in a lab where she underwent a series of extremely painful tests. These tests were carried out by Dr. Brenner, and the goal of the tests was to measure Eleven's powers. In a sort of strange and macabre way, you could say that Dr. Brenner was Eleven's first foster parent. In the 1st season of the show, Dr. Brenner meets his seeming end when he is devoured by a Demogorgon after showing up to the middle school to collect Elle. But new information says that we may not have seen the end of Dr. Brenner just yet. According to Dan Cohen, a producer on the show, Dr. Brenner is still alive. He's out there, says Cohen. Where out there? Who knows, except for Cohen. However, we do know that Dr. Brenner could not have survived the onslaught by the Demogorgons without a lot of help. And if he's alive now, he may just be more dangerous than before. Where is Hopper? At the end of part 3, we're led to believe that Hopper's dead. That's what everyone thinks. After the supposed death of Hopper, Elle has to go live with the Byers family. It's the only sensible thing to do, as she cannot live alone. The aftermath of Hopper's supposed death gets more heartbreaking when Joyce gives Elle a letter that Harper wrote to her before he, again, supposedly died. In the letter, he tells her that although it's hard for him to see her grow up and pursue a romantic relationship with Mike, he's there for her. This makes the scene even sadder, and it gives a sort of definite twinge to Hopper's death. But this is Stranger Things, and stranger things have happened. Hopper's death was always going to be contested in the absence of a body, but the post-credit scene makes sure the doubts remain. After the credits, we see 2 Russian soldiers in a Russian bunker. They come to a windowless cell, and as one prepares to open it, he is told to stop. No, not the American, the commanding officer says. Instead, a Russian-speaking prisoner is chosen. It may not look like much, but those 4 words may be all we need to know that Chief of Police Hopper is far from dead. However, we cannot be sure until Stranger Things 4 is released. Where did the Byers ago. After the death of Hopper and the crazy events of Stranger Things 3, the buyers decide that they're finally going to move away from Hawkins. And to be fair, can't blame them. It's been 3 straight years of horror, terror, and terrifying occurrences. The fact that the buyer's home is often ground zero for the madness that happens on Stranger Things makes the decision of moving away even more sensible. However, we have no idea where the buyers are moving to. Is it to another state? Is it somewhere close to Hawkins? No one knows. We guess we'll find out the answer to that question rather soon. Another question we don't know the answer to is this: is Will safe outside Hawkins? Joyce seems to think that Hawkins is the reason all sorts of crazy things keep happening to her family. And this may be true, but will moving away from the town be enough to keep the Upside Down away from Will? In part 1, he spends almost all his time in the Upside Down, and in part 2, he was possessed by the Mind Flayer. Even in part 3, he still feels some sort of strangeness when the monsters are on the move. The question now is, will Will be able to cut his connection to the Upside Down? We don't know, but given the way the show has managed to connect Will to the demons of the Netherworld, we think it's unlikely. Is there something happening with Dr. Owens? After Dr. Benner meets his end, or unend, at the school during his attempt to pick Elle up, there's need for a replacement. And the replacement is a man named Dr. Owens, who's played by Paul Reiser. At first, we were all wary about Dr. Owens. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Or is he just a guy who wants to do his job and go home to meet his lovely wife? We don't know. However, after Dr. Owens helps Will escape the clutches of the Upside Down in season 2, many people started to think that he was a good guy. Aside from that, he even helps protect Hawkins from an open gate and gets injured by demodogs in the process. He also ends up helping Hopper adopt Eleven, so it's clear that Dr. Owens is not a terrible guy. Despite all this, his role in covering up the story at the mall with the government casts a shadow of doubt on his alliances. Will he turn on the town of Hawkins if the government orders it? We don't know. And if he returns in part 4, whose side would he be on? We have no idea. And there you have it. These are the unanswered questions from Stranger Things. What do you think about these questions? Do you have an answer to them? Let us know in the comments. It's crazy to think the newest season of Stranger Things will be coming out soon. We've all been waiting for it for so long, but it's not going to be that far away before we get to see it. Make sure you stick around on the channel and watch some of our other videos. Anyway, that wraps up the video. I'll see you next time. A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We are giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or MacBook Pro. It's all your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple.